Hello and welcome. I am the Suit&Tie Dip&ChewGuy, and this is a clarification on the poll that I posted to the community page earlier today. So this video will probably just be titled Patreon. So I floated the idea on the community page. There's a way to post polls over there earlier today just to see what kind of feedback would be given about starting a Patreon account. For those that do not know what that is, it is a site that hosts creators like I create for this channel, and it's a way for people to donate to those creators monthly automatic. So it would you'd have different levels and whatnot. I'll get into that for a second. The reasoning behind this and why I am most likely going to do this. There will be some that will be like, why not a P.O. box? P.O. box is problematic. It was not problematic for this reason originally, but it has dawned on me since then. The problem with the P.O. box is that in all likelihood, it will be coming as cash or maybe check. I don't really have use for either, and here's why. Basically, the channel is funded and operated off of a PayPal card. Everything I do for this channel now is basically electronic. I never actually see cash. Well, couldn't cash be used? No, actually I can't because I don't have a way to get that cash onto the PayPal card. I had to close my own bank accounts a few months ago, basically, for lack of funds and charges coming in. So there is no way for me to turn, let's say if you send me a $5 bill, there is no way to get that into a position on the PayPal card to send it for an order from whoever. And that is really the biggest part of why there is no P.O. box. The other thing for P.O. box is it costs money. And unless the money coming in through that P.O. box at the post office is covering that money, then it is sort of detrimental, to say the least. Now, it is fairly cheap. It's like, I think I can get a small one here for about $30 every 90 days. But, so there's not going to be any P.O. box at the moment. I have looked at other sites besides Patreon, and I'm now going to go into the reason for Patreon. It is the one that I will most likely go with for a number of reasons, amongst them being security for the person that becomes a member and whatnot. My reasoning for doing this now is twofold. Excuse me. One, and most importantly, this computer is not lasting much longer. What I'm filming on right now is not going to make it through another year here. I'm a little bit surprised the way it's been acting the last couple months that it's still working now. It is not going to make it too much longer. That said, I am not opening the Patreon to have you guys fund me a new computer. I'm opening the Patreon to diversify the ways I can take donations, because when my work season does start, I'm going to have to put a pretty taxing amount of my income into a new computer. I do not make a lot. Trust me, I'm not going to get into numbers. It's really nobody's business. I do work for local senior citizens at ridiculously low rates because they're all fixed income. All right? So I had said before that, once work season gets started, I'll have money and I'll match everything. I had wanted to match it through the off season, but that's not happening. I'm basically completely relying on donations and raffle entries at this point. But Now I'm looking at a situation where when money does become available for throwing in on reviewable product, I'm going to have to use that money to put aside to replace this thing in front of me here. So the Patreon sort of steps in as a secondary donation vehicle, and hopefully it will be able to build donations a little bit so I can use my money to buy new equipment. The second part, the twofold of that is I don't really like talking about donations, asking for donations, selling the idea of donations, etc. I really want to not talk about it at all. Having the second vehicle that will be repeating, let's say you donate $5, it takes $5 once a month, will just take off pressure for me to having to talk about donations. Now, for those of you that like the raffle scheme, I'm not planning on stopping that. I will continue doing raffles. Nothing will change there. The PayPal account address will remain. This is just something secondary for people that really don't want to deal with repeat donations and just wants an automated service. All right. Also, it gives me the feeling of a little bit security having that automated service. So I do not know. I have not set this up. I have not really delved deep into Patreon. It is a type of service that you can have different levels of support. All right. And then the people that sign on get different levels of like inside, behind the scenes footage and whatnot. I'm not doing any of that to start. Okay. I'm going to make this thing as simple as possible. And if I can cap how high the person can donate, I will. I'm looking for people $5 and below. Okay. I don't want anybody. I don't think the channel is to tell you the truth, I don't think the channel is worthy of higher amounts. I don't think what I put out and the way I put it out needs people, I mean, if I was an overly edited soundtrack, traveling the world type deal, then that would be different. But I'm not. I'm at this desk in front of this camera telling you about Dip and, Chew and whatnot. And if I save you some money along the way, great. But really, I don't think that's worth large amounts from individual people. Not even in monthly installments. So if I can, and I really haven't looked at the site yet, if I can, I will cap it at $5. I'm looking for things like repeated monthly subscribers to it from $1 to $5. I realize $5 a month to some people would be taxing in itself. So, I mean, anything is good. I'm just trying to diversify how money's coming in to make sure it keeps coming in so I can do things like buy a new computer with my money. So, that said, if there is, now in the poll, 19% said they would do, or last I checked the poll, 19%. That's all I was looking for and why I'm going to carry forward with this. I knew that there wasn't going to be people scrambling to, join this. I just needed the number that 19% evened out to. And then I took that number down by 1/4 to give myself a better idea, and that was still good enough for me to carry on with this. Because the Patreon account doesn't cost anything. Patreon takes a cut of what comes in. So again, this is a situation where it's not costing anything, and money-wise is not something I need to maintain. That all said, if there is enough people in the Patreon that believe strongly enough to have some money taken off of their credit card or whatever monthly for this channel, and I successfully get new equipment, I will start doing some things, making some changes that people have suggested through the course of this channel. I got to get a new computer. The first thing right off the bat is some sort of mic. At this point in time, I don't know if this computer is worth plugging a mic into, to tell you the truth. But stuff like that, I will probably start doing some editing, okay? And I will get away from this desk at some point. It's all things that people have suggested before through the length of this channel. You know, I take suggestions. I have taken issue with a couple times when people sort of were like, oh, well, you know, you're not going to be able to do anything unless you... Dude, don't come at me like that, all right? Because you'll never be able to see this channel again online. All right, it will literally disappear in front of your eyes. Anyway, but I have noted, I have listened, although maybe I did not say I was listening, to suggestions through the course of the channel. And if people actually invest in the channel in the way that the Patreon thing is set up, then I'm going to have to take those suggestions into account and start doing some different things, or things a little differently. I mean, it won't be some revolutionary overnight change or anything by any means, and I will retain the important aspects of what has made the channel what it is thus far, but I will try to start working things in. So that is the whole deal behind the idea of a Patreon account. As I said, I know that there's not going to be a ton of people sign on to this. If you're able to, if you really like the channel and have hopes for where the channel's going, if my reviews have some way, shape, or form saved you money in the past, and this goes for the regular PayPal donations too, if you would consider it. That said, I realize there will probably only be a handful of people, but anything at this point to keep the channel going, as long as it doesn't cost the channel, I have to sort of look into. When I started this channel, I had no idea. Like, I was completely ignorant to what this would cost. Like, I had no idea. I was looking at, Dip, as smoking cigarettes, not recently, but smoking cigarettes for 20 years. Dip's like, what, $4 a can? This is going to be cheap. What I didn't count on and did not realize when I started this channel was the extremely limited availability in my area for all of these products. Thus, everything has to be ordered in, basically. And if it's not Skoal's regular line, Copenhagen, or Grizzly's mainline products, it's not here. So that is an ongoing issue with all of this. And at that, I will leave this video as is because I have one more to do. I will be back shortly with a PSA video on the virus situation that's ongoing. I do hope you all are well. Thank you for listening to me ramble here for 14 minutes. Do take care of yourselves. I'll see you shortly. God bless.